What's going on, bloomers? This is Jalal Wilson. And what if I told you there was only one book you needed to read in 2024 to completely change your life? And the book, it would only take you about 5 minutes to read. Would you be interested? Alright, listen up. I got a book review for you if you are. The book is called Oh, the Places You Will Go. This book is by Dr. Seuss. And you're like, the book that is gonna completely change my life in 2024 is a children's book? Yes, exactly. It is a children's book. And I wanna tell you why I reviewed and thought about this children's book. A lot of us, when we become adult and we're in this stage where we're trying to bloom, one of the things missing is we forgot how we were when we were a kid. We forgot what it was like to be a kid, and we need to remember when we were kids, we didn't care what anybody thought. We didn't care what anybody said. We wanted what we wanted, and we figured out a way to get it. And if somebody said no, we just figured another way to get what we wanted. Whether that was asking the question 50 million times until the person said yes, or just figuring out a completely different way to still get to the same results. And we weren't worried about whether or not, for the most part, when we were younger, whether this is gonna get me in trouble in this exact. Now, when we become adults, we're thinking like, do I look pretty enough? Is my hair long enough? Is my receding hairline gonna make me look ugly on camera? What will people say about me if I put myself out there? Will people judge me? Will people think I'm not this or think I'm not that? Will I still belong to this group or to that group? We complicate things when we become adult. The world seems a lot more complicated. But what I want to do by reviewing these children's books is to take us back to a simpler time. And when we can take ourselves back to a simpler time, we can actually get more done because we're simplifying the process, baby. And that's what sometimes in life it is all about, simplifying things. All right. And when we are reading the same books, I want you to think about this. If we are reading the same books as everybody else, whatever the book of today is, we're all going to be thinking the same way. Reaching back, reading older books like children's books are another way that we can kind of step away from group thinking and kind of figure things out for ourselves. And there's a lot of hidden gems and children's books. And like I said, life is busy. 5 minutes is all it's going to take to change your 2024. So let's get into it. I'm not gonna read all of it, of course, but I am gonna read some of the pages that I think really set up this book and explain why I think in 2024 you could really use this book to get ahead. So let's dive in. All right, so the first thing he starts off with is this, and well, it's not the very first page, it's like page number 2, but Dr. Seuss sets the tone pretty quickly on what he believes about us. I'm gonna read it. He says, you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose, you're on your own and you know what you know, and you are the guy who will decide where to go. Let's unpack that. First of all, he's letting us know we got a brain in our head. Some people act like they don't, but he's letting us know that, hey, we do. And we got shoes, we got feet in our shoes. Basically, we got to get up and move. We got to be the ones to take ourselves with them feet in our shoes to whatever the destination is that we choose. I feel like Dr. Seuss right now. Anyway, and he says, you are the person. No one else is going to steer you the direction you need to go. You are the only person that can do that. And in this season of blooming, you have to remember that it is all on you. And that can be scary. I mean, it's scary for me to think about, but it's the facts. Everything is all on me. It's all on you. We are in charge of our blooming season. So that's something to remember in this 2024. It's all on us, baby. And we can do this. Dr. Seuss said we can. And on the next page, which I'm not going to read all of it, but he says sometimes we'll be in an area, right? And it may not be the right area for us. So our job is to decide if it's not the right area for us to leave the area. So for us, that means just putting ourselves in a new environment. And when we get in a new environment, I will read what he says happens next. So if you discover that your environment that you're in is not going to help you bloom, get to where you want to be in 2024, be willing to step into something new. That is what I kind of got from that part. Be willing to step into something new. All right. And then he says, when you step into something new, out there things can happen, and frequently to people as brainy and footsie as you. When things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew, just go right along. You'll start happening too. So basically what he's saying is, in 2024, if we get in the right environment around people who are moving, around people who do want to bloom, then we will also bloom too. On the next page, he just starts talking about, all the places you'll go. And then you'll be, basically once we get in this new environment, we'll be flying higher, we'll be done set our sights, and actually in a lot of cases, since we were so ready for this season and we just put ourselves in this different environment and that kickstarted everything, we might pass the people in that environment, and that can happen. And he talks about that. He says, you won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be the best of the best. Wherever you go, you will top all the rest. So it's like we get to this point where we done got ourselves in a new environment and things is happening and things is moving and we feel at the top of the top. And then he lets us know, this is sometimes sometimes this may occur in 2020. You may be feel everything may be going right. And then, like it happens in life, except when you don't, because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say so, but sadly it's true. The bang ups and the hang ups can happen to you. Life is full of unpredictability, surprises, and all of these things, right? Because you could be soaring high and then something happens, maybe a loss, a death in the family, or anything can happen to kind of throw you off your game. And it's life, and that could happen to you in 2024. You could have this path that you say, hey, I'm going down for sure, and things is going to be this and things is going to be that, and then something that you didn't expect happens and kind of throws you a curveball. He's telling you that this is going to happen, and when it does happen, you may in that moment, I know I have found myself in the moment where you're just lost and confused. And he says that, you'll come to a place where the streets are not marked. So you don't know which your direction. You're not sure which way to go. The streets are unmarked. He says some windows are lightened, mostly they're dark. A place you could sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right and 3/4, or maybe not quite? So he's just saying, we may get to this place where we're not sure exactly what direction to go and what to do next. But he's letting us know that this is part of life. These things can happen, right? And he tells us where, we're gonna hit the spot where, we may be confused about the next move to make because we were so sure this was this and this was the way to go and all of the things that we needed to do. We were so sure, and then life slapped us in the face. So we're going to have those moments. He warned us there's one place we must avoid, and it's called the waiting place. And this picture illustrates, so beautifully what the waiting place is. It's for people just waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or a no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a better break. Everyone, I skipped a few. Everyone is just waiting. That's the place. But no, that's not for you. You'll somehow escape that. And he talks about, how you'll escape that, and then you'll go on to rediscover a new path, reach higher heights again, and you'll be on your way. And then you'll be, it just talks about having fun, being on TV, all these things, right? You're on your way. You figured out a new path. And then something sometimes will happen. And this is where, to me, the best part of the book and the thing that we can really use for 2024 is. It says, except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. He's talking about people watching and cheering for you, because sometimes on your path to blooming, everybody won't be cheering for you. Everybody won't be supporting you. Everybody won't be watching you like, yeah, go you. That will happen. And he says, I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too. Games you can't win because you're playing against you. Ooh, playing against ourselves. Like, how many times have we gotten ourselves in this position and then talked ourselves out of the thing that we know we should have, the know that we should do, we know that we should be, because we are playing against ourselves. We done convinced ourselves. The world ain't convinced us. We done convinced ourselves that we ain't good enough to do XYZ or be XYZ or have XYZ. And he talks about that, man. Like, this is so deep, because once we understand, like, most of life takes place up here. Really is. It takes place up here. And he talks about, you know, the next page. This last page I'm gonna read this because I want you to get a book. I don't want you to just, you know, for me to read this whole book for you, and then you're like, well, he read it for me. I don't gotta read it. But you do. It says, all alone, whether you like it or not. Alone will be something you'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the roads between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. And that is, you know, when we on that place where we're alone, we don't know what to do, we start doubting ourselves, we are in this season of unbelief, and we're just like not sure, you know, what it is. And you know, when we don't know the path that we need to take, it does look scary. We do wonder about the what ifs. What if I succeed? What if I'm not enough? What if people call me a fraud? What if this? What if that? We get into that place and it's scary. And he points out the fact that we spend a lot of time alone with our thoughts. And a lot of times we distract ourselves in that space with our phones, with all these other different gadgets and all these other different things, because we're scared what we may discover when we're really tuned into ourselves and we're alone. But in 2024, we got to move past that. And he says, but you will go on, though the weather be foul, on you will go, through your enemy's prow. So basically, you're going to get there. You're going to figure out a way through it, over it, or whatever you got to do to keep moving. That's what he says. And he said, you know, pretty much you got this. And sometimes along the way, you're going to get mixed up, because that's life. We all get mixed up sometime. But you're going to, when you get mixed up, you're going to learn to step with better tact, as he says. Because understanding that life is a great balancing act. We can't always get it right, but we can learn, readjust our course, and keep it moving. And the last thing he says, and will you succeed? Yes, you will indeed. 98 3/4% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountain. You need to tap back into the kid in you, because you can move mountains. 2024 can be your year. I encourage you to get this book and read it. It takes 5 minutes. Read it every day to remind yourself. Sometimes you're gonna you got everything you need up here and in your feet. Sometimes you're gonna hit some walls. Sometimes you gotta move from a different room, a different space, a different area to get what you need. And you're gonna spend a lot of time alone in your season. You gotta be okay. You gotta work through whatever is stopping you from going where you need to go. I have all the faith in the world in you. Now, if you enjoyed this book review, there's a link in the bio if you want to, you know, use my link to get the book. It does give me a little proceeds to my channel. But if you don't, that's okay. But what I do ask, that is free, is that you like, subscribe, and comment. Like, what part of that on your season of bloom are you stuck at? Does this resonate with you? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. But make sure you subscribe. And as always, it's never too late to start today and keep blooming. I'm out.